Audrey Werro and Femke Bol just turned the Lausanne 800 meters into one of the wildest races of the season. Werro attacked from the front, Femke came flying back late, and by the finish, both women had made history. But the way this race changed over 2 laps is what made it special. On August 21, 2026, the women's 800 meters at Athletissima in Lausanne had everything needed for a fast race. Werro was racing in Switzerland. She was unbeaten outdoors over 800 meters in 2026, and she owned the fastest time in the world that season at 1:53.80. Femke arrived from a very different place, still learning the event after moving away from the 400-meter hurdles. The big question before the gun was how hard Werro would attack the first lap. She had already run 1:53.98 in Stockholm on June 7th and 1:53.80 in Paris on June 28, so the world record of 1:53.28 was always going to be part of the conversation. But Werro had said before Lausanne that she did not want to put too much pressure on herself by thinking only about the record. Once the race started, the pace answered that question for her. Werro followed the pacemaker at a brutal speed and reached halfway much faster than the pace Jarmila Kratochvilova used during her world record run in 1983. Athletissima later reported that Werro was about 2 seconds faster at 400 meters than Kratochvilova had been during that famous race. That opening lap gave Werro control, but it also created a danger. The 800 meters can punish any runner who spends too much energy early, and the second lap began to show the cost. Werro still had the lead, but the race was no longer about chasing the clock. It was becoming a fight to hold on. Saidat Sehai of Ethiopia was the first runner to put real pressure on Werro. She moved closer as the field came through the second lap, forcing Werro to keep working when her legs were already feeling the first 400. Femke stayed close behind, waiting for the part of the race where her speed could become a weapon. That moment came in the final 200 meters. Femke began to close, and the gap that Werro had built started to disappear. As they entered the home straight, Femke was running with the kind of late speed that made her one of the best 400-meter athletes in the world, while Werro was trying to protect everything she had built earlier. The final straight became a chase. Femke kept taking ground back with every step, and for the first time in the race, Werro looked like she could be caught. But Werro held her form just long enough and reached the line in 1:55.33. Femke finished in 1:55.41, only 0.08 seconds behind, while Sehai took third in 1:56.92. That finish gave both women a record. Werro's 1:55.33 broke the Lausanne meeting record of 1:55.69 set by Keely Hodgkinson on August 20, 2025. Femke's 1:55.41 broke the Dutch national record of 1:55.54, which Ellen van Langen had set while winning Olympic gold in Barcelona on August 3, 1992. The Dutch record made Femke's second place much bigger than a normal loss. She had run faster than any Dutch woman in history over 800 meters, yet Werro still finished ahead of her. It also showed how quickly Femke has moved from newcomer to real threat. The timing of the record made the story even better. At the European Championships in Birmingham on August 14, 2026, Femke had run exactly 1:55.54. She matched Van Langen's record to the 100th while taking bronze behind Werro and Hodgkinson. 7 days later in Lausanne, she finally moved beyond it. Femke also left Lausanne knowing the race was not perfect. She has spoken this season about learning when to push in the second lap and how to trust herself more once the race gets painful. That is a major part of the 800, because the event is not only about having speed. It is about choosing the right moment to use it. Werro had her own reason to be proud of the win. She had raced the European final only 7 days earlier and said the short turnaround left her more tired than usual. In Lausanne, she also went out extremely hard, faced a challenge from Sehai, and then had to survive Femke's late charge. It was not the cleanest race of her season, but she still found a way to win. Lausanne also showed two different strengths. Werro can still win when an aggressive plan starts to hurt, while Femke is now close enough that one small tactical choice can matter. To understand how quickly that fight has changed, you only need to look at their 4 outdoor meetings in 2026. The first came in Ostrava on June 16, when Werro won in 154.45 and Femke ran 157.13 in her first outdoor 800. The gap was 2.68 seconds, which made Werro look far ahead at that stage. Their second meeting came in Paris on June 28th. Werro ran 153.80, the third fastest women's 800-meter time in history, while Femke improved to 155.60. That cut the gap to 1.80 seconds and left Femke only 0.06 away from the Dutch record. The European final on August 14 changed the picture again. Werro won in a championship record 154.81, Hodgkinson finished second in 155.01, and Femke took bronze in 155.54. The difference between Werro and Femke was now 0.73 seconds, much smaller than it had been in June. Then Lausanne brought them almost together. The 4 gaps tell the whole story without needing any extra hype: 2.68 seconds, then 180, then 0.73, then 0.08. Werro has won all 4 meetings, but Femke has made every new race more difficult. The reason is simple. Femke is still learning an event that is completely different from the 400-meter hurdles. She announced on October 10, 2025, that she would switch her focus to the 800 for 2026, even though she was already a 2-time world champion in the hurdles and one of the biggest names in track. In the hurdles, Femke had her own lane, fixed barriers, and a rhythm she had trained for years. In the 800, she has to run in a pack, protect her position, judge changing pace, and decide when to move. Those are skills that usually take time, yet her results show how quickly she has adapted. Her first outdoor 800 in Ostrava was 157.13. 5 days later, on June 21, she won at the FBK Games in Hengelo in 157.41, giving her experience racing from a different position. Then Paris brought the jump to 155.60, Birmingham brought the record tie, and Lausanne finally gave her the Dutch record. Werro's rise has been just as important to the story because she has given Femke a very high target. On June 7th in Stockholm, Werro ran 153.98 and became the first woman in almost 43 years to break 154. Hodgkinson ran a British record of 154.33 in the same race and still finished second. Werro then went even faster in Paris, running 153.80 and becoming the first woman ever to break 154 more than once. Those performances pushed the women's 800 to a new level in 2026. Kratochvilova's 153.28 world record has stood since July 26, 1983. Lausanne did not bring it down, but Werro's season has put that 43-year-old mark back into the conversation. Femke adds another layer because she has not reached Werro's level yet, but she is moving toward it at a speed few expected. She went from 157.13 in her first outdoor 800 to 155.41 in just over 2 months. More important than the raw improvement, she is now finishing close enough that tactics can decide the result. That is where this rivalry stands after Lausanne. Werro is still the leader, still unbeaten outdoors in 2026, and still the runner Femke has not beaten over 800 meters. Femke, however, no longer looks like someone simply testing a new event. She now owns the Dutch record and has shown she can chase one of the fastest women in history all the way to the line. The women's 800 meters has become one of the most interesting races in track because every top athlete brings something different. Werro attacks with fearless pace, Femke brings huge closing speed and is learning fast, while runners like Hodgkinson have already shown they can produce times that belong among the best ever. Lausanne gave us a perfect example of why the event is so hard to predict. Werro went out like she wanted to break the race open, Femke stayed alive long enough to make the final straight dangerous, and 2 records fell before either woman could relax. For now, Werro still owns the win. Femke owns the Dutch record, and after a finish decided by only 0.08 seconds, their next battle no longer feels like a question of whether Femke can stay with Werro. The real question is what happens when she finally reaches the home straight without giving Werro any space at all.